Wake up, America. It's an Islamist takeover. And right now, in 20 to 30 years, if we stay asleep, America can be completely different. Not just because normal immigration, but because radical Islamists want Sharia law, hate our freedoms, and are here already inside our cities, our schools, even Congress. I'm not talking about your friendly Muslim neighbor. I'm talking about the ones that are screaming death to America in Michigan, pushing anti-Israeli hate on campuses and quietly building power. If we don't stop it now, church bells will be replaced with the call to prayer, and the Constitution will just be a memory. I'm going to break down exactly what's happening in this country, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on what we can do to try to right that ship and get back on the path of democracy and the American way, Christian values. Stick around. You just might learn something. I fought for this country 20 years ago, and I thought when I fought for the country in overseas that it was going to stay over there. What the hell did we fight for? Why did I leave my wife and 5 kids, one of them 1 year old, one of them 3 years old, to go fight in the Middle East for a year of my life, to just have everything I fought for completely dismantled within 20 years? Whatever happened to 9/11? Don't you remember what happened to this country? I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there. What happened to Building 7? Why did it fall down? Why did the buildings fall the way they did? They have all these experts that are dissecting the whole 9/11 theory. But the fact of the matter is, we had Islamist terrorists on those airplanes that flew them into the Twin Towers. And you could talk about Building 7 all you want. Did everybody think for a second that maybe they put charges on those buildings to make them fall down? They could have done that too, but we don't talk about that theory. The propaganda machine by the Middle East that fed to our country over the last 24 years has completely dissolved the memory of 9/11. And what happened? We lost 3,000 people that day. Firefighters that are still fighting with cancer issues, lung issues, traumatic brain injuries, PTSD. The list goes on and on. But we forgot about that, and we've allowed them to infiltrate this country at an alarming rate. They are taking over our cities little by little, and we aren't doing anything about it. So I started thinking about what happened. Why did I fight for this country? Why did I try to keep the fight over there to keep it from coming to the United States? But it's here now. It's here. And people aren't waking up. We had 2 National Guard soldiers from Virginia that were needlessly attacked by a radical Islamist that was brought into this country because nobody was keeping records of who we were allowing in here at an alarming rate, as a matter of fact. And one of those soldiers had died. When are we going to wake up? When are we going to realize that these things need to stop? When are we going to realize that we lost soldiers, we lost airmen, Marines, Navy, Coast Guard? We lost all types of men and women from our military fighting that war over there to prevent it from coming over here. And now it's reached our shores. It is infiltrated in major cities across the country. And I'm going to break it down and show you exactly what has been happening and what's going on and what we can do to try to prevent this. Right now, the numbers are astonishing. We have 4 million Muslims in the US right now. That's about 1% of the population. By 2050, that is going to be about 8 million, only up 2%, but it's a major cry of what's to come. It may sound small to you until you see where they're concentrated. They're concentrated in Dearborn, Michigan. They're concentrated in Minneapolis. They're concentrated in cities like New Jersey. They're concentrated in parts of New York. They're concentrated in parts of the country where they're going to infiltrate by the masses. And if we don't wake up, we're going to lose it. The numbers are showing you that in major cities across the country, Dearborn, Hamtramck, Cedar Riverside, Peterson, New Jersey, Sterling Heights, Michigan, the populations of these cities are mainly Muslim, and they are increasing at an alarming rate. Look what happened in just Dearborn, Michigan, with the city council telling an American that they're not welcome.
Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe, and although you live here, I want you to know, as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
In these cities, they have streets named Muslims. They have Islamic writing on their street signs. Some of these streets are named after terrorist individuals that these citizens are claiming that are in that city. Why are we doing this? Why is this happening to our country? We have two people in Congress right now, two Muslim women in Congress. We got Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib, who refuse to strongly condemn Hamas and have made anti-Israel, anti-American comments. Why do we have people like that don't love the Constitution, clearly do not love America? There are pro-Palestine campus protests, sometimes turn into global intifada chants. Mosques and groups tied to Muslim brotherhoods, a group that wants to have worldwide Islamic rule operating freely in our cities. Islamics caught on video preaching hate to dominate our country and to take it over.
We're done. We're done being tortured and hurt and judged. This is the correct religion. This is the religion that all of humanity needs to be upon, of Islam. And we will not stop until it enters every home.
The scary phrases that you're going to hear online are civilization jihad, taken over slowly through politics and birth rates instead of bombs. This is how they're doing it. The birth rates in Muslim America are explained really clearly. So according to Pew Research, the Muslim fertility rate in the US is 2.8 children per woman. That's higher than the US national average, which over the US fertility rate is 1.6 children per woman. This means the Muslim fertility rate is 75% higher than the average national rate of an American. Muslim families have the highest birth rates among any major U.S. religious group. Natural increase, births minus deaths, is the number one driver of Muslim population growth in America. Pew Research identifies Muslims in the U.S. are much younger. Their median age is 33 versus 47% for Caucasian whites. The younger populations obviously have more women in childbearing years, and immigrant communities typically show higher fertility for 1 to 2 generations. What percentage of the birth rates are Muslim to Americans? Pew estimates that Muslims take up 1.3 to 1.4% of the entire population, but account for 2.5 to 3% of total U.S. births. It's double their population in share, guys. Projection in the future, Pew projects that Muslims will reach 2.1% of the U.S. population, largely due to higher birth rates. Continued immigration, the younger median age. Even so, Muslims will remain a small minority related to the total population side. The birth rates are clear. 2.8% compared to 1.6% for the United States. Muslim Americans have the highest birth rate of any religion in the U.S., and they are taking over at an alarming rate. And that's how they're going to do it. And that's what they're focusing on. And that's why they want to develop that. And that's why they want to keep it. And that's why they want to keep it at a higher rate of birth, because eventually whites and Americans will be the minority in this country. And you're going to be waking up and realizing you've lost the United States. So the alarmists in this country have a lot of things they're concerned about. And I tend to agree with a lot of them. They got to ban groups tied to the Muslim Brotherhood. The extreme vetting or pause immigration from certain countries. And Donald Trump has already done that. I believe it's like 17 countries he's pausing immigration on. We got to pass laws making it clear Sharia law can never override the Constitution. Break up neighborhoods that become mini foreign countries. They can no longer go into our cities, take over city councils, and change the way the American population has been doing this country and created this country for the last 250 years because they don't like our ideologies and they don't want to follow the Constitution. That's why they came to this country, right? For a better life? But that's not what they're doing. And don't make the same mistake you Europeans did. They ignored all of the warning signs. They sat on their hands. They let the immigration come in real slowly. Then it picked up. Then the faucet turned on greater and greater. And now look at Europe. It's been taken over by Muslims. Most of the cities in England, the major cities in England, are ran by Muslim mayors. That's a significant problem because they don't come here to assimilate. They come here to take over and dominate. So why are they here? Why are they leaving their countries to come to the United States and force their beliefs on us? Most immigration that happened here in the United States happened here because people wanted to come here for a better life. But they're not doing that. They're not coming here for that. They're not coming for the American dream and to assimilate and be the melting pot. They're coming here to take over our cities, take over our churches, take over our schools, take over our education system, and take over our way of life. So just because it's 2% of the population, people say, well, they can't force the 98% of us to do the Sharia law. That's just math. They're wrong. The no-go zones in Europe are exaggerated or false. That's baloney as well. We all know, we can see the news reports, we can see what's going on in these major cities. It's happening everywhere. And they also say the vast majority of American Muslims are normal citizens who love this country. Sure, we've got a lot of them that live here, that love America. They want to be part of the American dream. But the radicals, it's like the squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? The radical voices are louder than anybody else's. Sure, we've got far right, we've got far left extremists, but the Muslim extremists are loud and they're dangerous and they are prone to violence. And they don't care how you feel. They don't care that you don't like that violence. They don't care that you don't have the beliefs they do. They're gonna push it on you. And if you don't like the way they do it, they'll get rid of you. They don't have any problem with that. But this data should be an extreme wake-up call. The comparison to Christian churches to mosques in 1995 is astonishing. American churches only have about 2.6% growth compared to mosques at 230% growth. Those numbers should tell you everything you need to know and be extremely aware of, because this pattern is showing you that this is an extreme takeover. From 1995 up until today, the growth of mosques were at 230%. That should be scaring every single American to death. Because in 1995, we had 340 churches. From 2024 to 2025, that increased only to 349,000 churches. Assuming 300 net new churches per year, 30 years, that's 9,000 churches. That's 2.65%. The mosques published a survey that shows in 1994, we had 962 mosques. By 2020, 2,769 mosques. And the estimate growth right now is 232% growth of mosques compared to churches. This number should scare the living daylights out of every single American. Right now, the church growth, Christianity in America, 2.6 compared to Muslims at 232%. That's a wake-up call for America. And if you keep sitting on your hands, guys, you're gonna be taken over. In 20 to 30 years from now, you are not gonna recognize the United States. America is the greatest country on earth, built on freedom, the rule of law. The idea that no religion or ideology gets to rule over the rest of us. We don't hate Muslims. We don't need to fear every mosque. Well, let's just be honest. Someone wants to come here and live under Sharia instead of the Constitution, they don't belong here. Someone cheers death to America, waves a flag of a terrorist group or another foreign country, they don't belong here. If someone lies on their immigration forms, funds jihad, and plots against this country, they do not belong here. We need to close the door on radicals. Pause immigration from high-risk countries until we can screen every single one of them properly. Trump did it in 2017, and he just did it the other day. We're gonna deport the ones that are already here who hate what we stand for. Demand 100% loyalty to America first every single time. This isn't bigotry. This is just common sense. This is how you protect the greatest nation the world has ever known. We welcome the tired, the poor, the huddled masses, but we never welcome those who want to tear the Statue of Liberty down. So yes, wake up, America. Secure the border. Do it ruthlessly and protect the sovereign country of the United States of America. Because if you don't, you're going to wake up one day and your grandchildren and your children are going to not have the same country that you grew up with. And this is a call to action. This is an emergency. This is a complete wake-up call for our citizens of the United States. Whether you're red, whether you're yellow, black, white, every citizen of the United States, this is for you and your wake-up call. So get up there, stand on the principles of the red, white, and blue and the freedom that your family and your ancestors fought for, and make this country as great as it ever could be. And we do it right here in our land. Because I fought a war, just like millions of other men and women fought in these wars to keep it the hell over there. And now it's here on our shores, so you better wake up and start paying attention. Well, that's it for today. Join me next time for a little chit chat, some observations, and some good old-fashioned conversation. Thanks.